Please welcome AIPAC Director of Legislative Strategy, Policy, and Government Affairs, Esther Kurtz.
Good afternoon. Welcome, everybody. I hope you all had a good meal somehow squeezed in between. I'm delighted to welcome you to our showcase session. We have a fantastic program lined up featuring top leaders from Capitol Hill and incredible activist stories. Our first guest, you're very lucky to hear from, has spent his Senate career working across the aisle for the people of Delaware. Since his election in 2010, Senator Chris Coons has earned a reputation as one of the most productive and likable members of the U.S. Senate. As a member of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, he has repeatedly taken a strong stand in support of Israel. He has taken the lead on several pro-Israel initiatives, including bills codifying the U.S.-Israel MOU, and a letter to the UN Secretary General protesting the UN's unfair treatment of Israel. Yeah, deserves applause for that. That was something we lobbied on last year. Today, we are pleased to have a true friend on our stage to discuss the future of the U.S.-Israel alliance. Everyone, please join me in welcoming Senator Chris Coons. Thank you, Senator. Welcome. Welcome. Senator, welcome, and thank you for being here. So ever since you've been in the U.S. Senate, you have been a strong and consistent supporter of the U.S.-Israel relationship, for which everyone here is deeply, deeply grateful. Thank you. Yep, well deserved. Talk to us a little bit about why is that issue so important to you?
Well, the U.S.-Israel relationship is the most important U.S. relationship with an ally. It is about so much more than security. We do get a tremendous return on our investment in the U.S.-Israel relationship from a security and an innovation perspective. But frankly, it is the kind of broad and deep relationship that's only possible with an ally who shares our core values, who fights for the same principles that we do, and with whom we have such an important, deep, and long history. So whether it's in development, or it's on the world stage diplomatically, or it's in security, or it's in innovation, or it's in fighting for democracy, the U.S.-Israel relationship is central to my work on the Foreign Relations Committee in the Senate and to how I see the United States' role in the world.
Well, thank you again for being such a great friend. And as you know, security assistance has always been the pillar of our relationship with Israel. But we've heard from some presidential candidates about possibly cutting aid or conditioning aid. Can you give us your thoughts on that? And also maybe talk a little bit about the bill that you and Senator Rubio have introduced about security assistance. And,
let me be clear about this if I can. So Senator Rubio and I are the co-sponsors of a bill that has 30 co-sponsors, 15 Republicans, 15 Democrats, that would authorize some rare bipartisanship. That deserves a round of applause. Thank you for making that possible and sustaining a genuine, deep, and bipartisan U.S.-Israel relationship. This bill would provide $3.3 billion in security assistance between the United States and Israel over a decade and broaden other partnerships in the development area, for example. And I'm proud to work with Marco Rubio, Republican Senator of Florida, on that bill. It's also critical to me that we not condition aid to Israel. That's my position. That's not just my position. That's also why I'm supporting former Senator, former Vice President Joe Biden from my home state of Delaware for President of the United States. He also strongly believes we should not condition our aid to Israel.
Thank you. In terms of your bill with Senator Rubio, what do you see as the prospects for its passage? Because I know we lobbied on something similar last year, which had some trouble. Where do you see that going?
I'm very optimistic that we now have a clear field forward. Senator Rubio and I have talked regularly about this. Frankly, it's due to your advocacy that I am truly optimistic that in this Congress we can get this to the President's desk and he'll sign it.
That'd be great. All right, it's an important bill. while we're talking about important bills, there's another initiative that you authored and you've been very passionate about, and it's called the Palestinian Partnership Fund, which would provide assistance to Israeli, Palestinian, and American entrepreneurs on the ground to help them, especially in the high-tech arena. So maybe talk to us a little about that. Why did you decide to do this? Why is it so important? And again, what are the prospects for actually getting it through this Congress?
Well, this is a bill that Senator Lindsey Graham and I have co-sponsored, and it comes directly out of a trip to Israel, where Senator Graham brought two newer, younger senators, and I brought two newer, younger senators, 2 Republicans, 2 Democrats. And on that trip, I had the experience of visiting with an American-Israeli entrepreneur, Yadin Kaufman, and having a chance through him to sit down with Palestinian entrepreneurs in East Jerusalem who are excited about the opportunity to grow jobs and to create investment and hope in the West Bank. This is not a political bill. This is a bill about creating opportunity for Israelis, Palestinians, and Americans together to invest in entrepreneurship and to open the doors of opportunity, because I believe in capitalism, I believe in entrepreneurship, and I believe in people-to-people relationships that can create hope and then create peace.
So this is money that will strictly go to the private sector, correct?
It's a $50 million fund that USAID would help manage, but would be invested in startups with high growth potential. And frankly, it's your advocacy for this bill that makes me optimistic we will get it signed into law this year.
And where do you think the administration will be on it? Any sense?
I'm very optimistic. I have an opportunity to talk to some senior figures in the administration about it this week.
Okay.
And while I recognize that part of the peace plan is a vision for a broader, bolder, multi-party investment fund, this is something that can get done. We already have $50 million in appropriations for it. It just needs an authorizing bill. So I think this is the art of the possible and would then lay the foundation for a broader, bigger vision about what a multilateral investment fund might make possible for economic opportunity in the West Bank and across Israel.
I should say that Senator Coons is one of those rare members who's a member both of the Foreign Relations Committee, the Authorizing Committee, and the Appropriations Committee. So
that's
you have
right.
An opportunity.
It's the Mother May I Committee and the How Much Am I Going to Get?
That's right. That's right. Shifting to a different topic, Africa, which has been a big interest of yours. You have done some very good work in terms of increasing development assistance to Africa. And you're very much aware of what Israel has been doing in Africa and the possibilities that Israeli entrepreneurship and innovation can do to solve some of the problems of water and agriculture in Africa. Do you see an opening here for U.S.-Israel cooperation in this field, and how would that look like?
Yes. The United States has USAID. Israel has Mashav. These are our national development organizations that help with technical assistance, with funding, and with partnerships. And as we all know, Israel has a remarkable history of taking a country where desertification, access to water was a major challenge, and with technological innovations, making the desert bloom, making possible opportunities for prosperity and for growth. There are countries all across the African continent that as climate change accelerates, as the desert marches south across the entire Sahel, it's dislocating people, it's putting pressure on governments, it's creating instability and extremism. And a piece of the bill that Senator Rubio and I have that we talked about a moment ago is strengthening the relationship between USAID, Mashav, and then supporting that across the African continent. There are 54 countries in Africa. These are vital partners on issues in the United Nations. These are also vital partners in development, and no country has a more immediate, relevant, positive, and engaging opportunity here to show what's possible in the developing world in this century like Israel. Israel is first class in the world in this, and our working more closely together will benefit all of us.
That's great. It is a big priority for the government of Israel as well, and so I think you're absolutely right in terms of getting the U.S. behind it and working together. We're that much stronger. One question about Iran, which obviously is a big topic for all of us every year, unfortunately. The UN arms embargo on Iran is set to expire in October. The Iranians have continued to be very active in the region and supplying arms to terrorist organizations like Hamas and Hezbollah. What do you see as the path forward in terms of trying to stop Iran from its regional aggression and stop it from acquiring a nuclear weapon?
Well, in the more narrow and immediate issue of how do we make sure that the UN embargo on arms, on conventional arms, doesn't expire. I'm an early co-sponsor of the Toomey-Rosen resolution, which I know you'll be advocating for. I hope you'll be advocating for, because we need to make sure that we keep Iran in a box, particularly around their export of conventional weapons to regionally destabilizing groups, the Houthis, for example, as well as Hezbollah and Hamas. As long as Israel is surrounded by adversaries on all sides, and as long as Iran is arming them and supporting them, we have to be more vigilant and we have to be more actively engaged. I am encouraged that there are conversations about pushing Iran towards another deal that would be broader and bigger and stronger and would address their ballistic missile activity, address their funding of terrorist organizations, and address the ways in which they've been regionally destabilizing. All of us need to be engaged in this work together. Sanctions are genuinely having a deep bite in Iran. Iran is having a difficult period now, and now is the time for us to try and find a diplomatic solution that builds on the security situation, which is generally moving in the right direction.
So do you think, yeah.
And let me also simply add, I did not shed a tear for a moment for Qasem Soleimani's death. He should have been taken off the battlefield, and that was a good step forward for peace.
No, you're absolutely right, and if you go visit the region, there isn't a single leader in the Arab world or in Israel that doesn't agree with you on that one, so it's made a huge difference. So you can see why Senator Coons is such a wonderful friend and such a great partner in terms of deepening and advancing the U.S.-Israel relationship. So Senator Coons, thank you for being here. Thank you for your friendship.
Thank you all very much.
And appreciate all you do.
Thanks, sister. I go out first.
Go out that way, yeah.